Welcome back to the Daily Dose of Space. Today's episode dives into 3 major space events happening right now, all important, all developing, and all connected to how humanity explores and understands the solar system. First, Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket has completed one of its most significant launches to date, carrying 2 NASA spacecraft on a mission to study the magnetic environment of Mars. Second, a severe solar storm has been hitting Earth, causing real effects on satellites, radio communication, and even orbital stability. And third, new observations show that Comet C 2025 K1, another comet discovered by the Atlas survey, is breaking apart as it approaches its closest point to Earth. There's a lot to cover, so let's get into it. A breakthrough. New Glenn sends NASA spacecraft to Mars. This week marked a milestone not only for Blue Origin, but for commercial spaceflight as a whole. The company successfully launched the heavy-lift New Glenn rocket, carrying NASA's ESCAPADE mission toward Mars. New Glenn has been discussed for nearly a decade. It was teased, delayed, redesigned, and joked about. But now it has finally proven that it's not just a concept or a vision. It's a working vehicle capable of sending planetary missions into deep space. The payload, ESCAPADE, consists of 2 nearly identical satellites designed to study the magnetosphere of Mars. This region, the invisible bubble where the solar wind interacts with the thin Martian atmosphere, is one of the keys to understanding why Mars transformed from a warm, wet planet with rivers and lakes to the cold desert world we see today. By studying how energetic particles from the sun strip away atmospheric molecules, ESCAPADE can help scientists understand how quickly Mars lost its ability to support liquid water. The mission itself is small by interplanetary standards. Each spacecraft weighs only around 120 kilograms, lighter than many satellites placed in low Earth orbit. But their mission is scientifically dense. They will map the flow of charged particles, monitor magnetic field fluctuations, and compare the different regions of the Martian environment simultaneously. New Glenn placed the spacecraft on a solar orbit that will gradually bring them into alignment with Mars over the next year and a half. Arrival at the Red Planet is expected in 2026. The launch means something larger too. NASA now has another operational heavy-lift partner. For years, SpaceX's Falcon Heavy has dominated planetary missions. Now, commercial competition is expanding, and that usually leads to innovation, lower prices, and more frequent missions. For Blue Origin, this was a make-or-break moment, and the successful flight changes the landscape of private spaceflight more than many people expected. A powerful solar storm hits Earth. While New Glenn was heading for deep space, Earth was being hit by a severe solar storm that began on November 2nd. The European Space Agency and NOAA confirmed that a large coronal mass ejection, or CME, struck Earth's magnetic field, creating a geomagnetic disturbance strong enough to trigger satellite issues and radio interference. This type of event happens when the sun ejects billions of tons of plasma, essentially a massive cloud of charged particles, which then travels toward Earth at high speed. When it reaches our planet, the particles interact with the magnetosphere, creating a chain reaction. Satellites in low Earth orbit experience increased drag because Earth's atmosphere expands during strong solar activity. GPS and aviation radio frequencies can be partially disrupted. Power grids, especially older systems, must be monitored for induced electrical currents. And auroras become brighter and visible much farther south than usual. This week's event has already caused operators of some satellites to adjust their orbits to avoid unexpected decay. This is a lesson learned after the February 2022 storm, when dozens of Starlink satellites were lost due to atmospheric drag. Solar storms also highlight how dependent modern technology is on space weather. Even if a storm doesn't reach the highest danger levels, the effects are real, from GPS shifts of several meters to temporary signal dropouts in HF radio bands used by aircraft. While this storm is not on the scale of the legendary Carrington event of 1859 or the 1989 Quebec blackout storm, it is still one of the stronger events of the current solar cycle. Solar Cycle 25 has been more active than predicted, producing frequent flares and CMEs. Scientists continue to monitor the sun for additional activity, and new observations from instruments like the Solar Orbiter help improve forecasting. For now, the storm is expected to weaken over the next day or two, but its effects serve as a reminder. The sun is far from quiet, and space weather matters more than ever. Comet C 2025 K1 Atlas is breaking apart. The final story today involves a comet that many observers have been watching closely. Comet C 2025 K1 Atlas. This comet, unrelated to the interstellar 3I Atlas, was discovered earlier this year, and since then, it has been monitored as it moves toward a relatively close approach to Earth in 2025. But new observations suggest that the comet may not survive that long intact. Astronomers have captured images showing that its nucleus is elongated and irregular, with at least one noticeable secondary condensation of material, a sign of fragmentation. Comet fragmentation is common, but scientifically interesting. A comet is not a solid rock. It's a porous mix of ice, dust, and frozen gases. When it approaches the sun, sunlight heats the surface, ices vaporize, internal pressure builds. Cracks can migrate deeper into the structure. If the stress exceeds the material strength, the nucleus splits. Some comets, like Shoemaker-Levy 9 or 73P Schwarzmann-Wachmann, broke into many pieces. Others disintegrate entirely, fading into dust clouds. For C 2025 K1, the fragmentation appears to be in its early stages. Multiple clumps of material are visible inside the coma, suggesting that the nucleus may be dividing but hasn't yet completely separated. Fragmentation is unpredictable. Even experienced comet observers often can't forecast whether a broken comet will become spectacular or disappear entirely. For scientists, however, fragmentation is an opportunity. A fractured nucleus exposes materials that would normally remain hidden beneath the crust. This provides rare insights into the chemical composition of early solar system objects, ingredients that date back over 4.5 billion years. Astronomers will continue monitoring C 2025 K1 over the coming weeks. Whether it becomes brighter, fades, or splits again, the next month will reveal the comet's fate. So today brings a mix of engineering successes, solar turbulence, and cosmic unpredictability. A new heavy-lift rocket carried NASA's mission toward Mars. A powerful solar storm reminded us how fragile modern technology can be, and a newly discovered comet may be breaking apart right before its closest approach to Earth. Space can be quiet for weeks, and then everything happens at once. And that's what makes covering it so fascinating. This has been your daily dose of space. See you in the next episode.